mean, honestly, like you're my day one A1, and like I'm so happy to have you on the podcast because you're like one of my favorite people on the entire planet.
Uh,
And the fact that I get to share you with the world, I'm like, y'all motherfuckers need to know, okay? Like people that are just I don't know, like your spirit is one of those things that like I feel like money is just can't buy. Like it's so priceless and your attitude for life has always been just so positive and just so relaxed and just like I don't know, like I've never really seen you even like super pissed off or even like sad. Like it's very rare and like you never get sick and it's just like you just always, I don't know, or like radiating like good vibes and energy. And anybody that knows you, I feel like will 100% agree that Jakisha is like just an incredible person to be around. But how are you doing? Like how are you on this blessed Sunday, God's day?
yes, yes, I appreciate that. But your girl there, cooling out for the most part.
I feel it. I feel it.
How are you?
Me, I'm doing good, like it's cold.
Oh
It's very
yeah,
cold. It's chillier and my plants are struggling. They're like turning yellow and I'm like, "Oh my god." Like I'm like, "I cannot have y'all die right now. Like please get it
not this
together." But
winter.
like it's cold. It's definitely cold.
And it's about to get
just
colder, no?
I hope not. I really
February is right around the corner.
I feel it. But I mean, it's okay. Like it's been interesting cuz Washington and climate change has been
Hmm.
eye-opening. I feel like this state never used to really be so extreme, but I think, like, with climate change and everything, like, there's just been a lot more, like, winter storms, so, like, there's a lot more snow than
Hmm.
usual, or, like, in the summers, it's hotter, but right now, it's, like, yeah, very cold, but it's doable, It's not like in Michigan where it's negative and, like, mofos are really going through it, Here, if it snows, then, like, everything shuts down and they're like, "Ah, the
Yeah.
snow," as if they'd never seen it before, and I'm like, "Guys, like, okay, I understand we got some slopes, but,
Yes, one less to deal with.
yeah, that is true. I like it in the sense of, like, people, like, don't go to work, like, they're just like, "Yeah, don't go nowhere." I'm like, "I could get used to
Oh wow, y'all
this."
got
I'm
like
like, "This is."
state of emergencies often?
I wouldn't say it's often, but it's like they'll close roads a lot, especially in like Seattle and like areas where it's a lot more hilly, like slope wise. Cause like interestingly enough, I know this is like completely off topic, but like the whole city of like Seattle was like burnt to the ground and like built on top
Oh
of.
wow.
So there's like a whole underground
Hmm.
city because apparently like Seattle used to be so sloped that it was like it was like so difficult to move around and so they had to like build up on the land because it was just like ridiculous, like just how steep things were. And I'm telling you, even now, like the way that I be seeing some of these people parking on the side of the road, I'm like, Lord, give me strength because I don't know how these people do it. Like it's just slanted, like on a. I'm just like, oh, this is giving me stress right now.
Yeah,
But
damn.
because of that, like, if it snows and things ice
Hmm.
over, it's just very dangerous. Like, cars literally cannot like, there's no way. It's just gonna slide down.
Yeah, that's
It
dangerous.
be like that. And yeah, they don't really like ice a lot or what am I saying? Salt. Like normally in Michigan, like people are on it. Like there's like a shit ton of snow
Hmm.
plows and there's a ton of, like, salt everywhere, but here, because it doesn't well, it used to not happen as frequent that the infrastructure is just not there, and, like, on the opposite side in the summer, like, none of these apartments and stuff have air conditioning or anything because it normally never really got that
Hmm.
hot, like, it was just a very nice climate, but now we get, like, heat waves and fricking forest fires, and it's a
The
struggle.
real Four Seasons.
Yeah, like for real, for real. Like I was like low key when I came to interview, I was like, "Oh my god, like this is cute." I was like, I like these colors and thing." I'm like, "She's looking very cute." I'm like, "I could get used to this." JK did not even know forest fires were like a thing for real. Like you hear about it, but it's just like over there.
Yeah, boy.
But is it cold on the island? I
I
mean,
mean,
it's still kind of our wet season.
it's chilly. Like in the evening, the breeze is like cold. Well, for me, you know me already. I get cold for anything, but the breeze is really chilly. It's like jacket weather, but for the most part, it's pretty humid still, you know?
Mm. And are the waves waving like they were? Because them bitches look like they were ready to take people out. I was like, "Damn, are we in Hawaii?" I'm trying to understand,
Yeah,
moon.
it really depends on how the moon is. You know, like most full moons will get like rough seas and stuff like that. But I mean, what you gonna do, huh? Is it you enjoy the waves
I
or
mean, it
you
definitely
know?
not stopping people.
What'd you say?
I feel it. Like, it's not stopping people from
Exactly.
enjoying the
Yeah.
water and stuff.
Yeah, people be
It's not
out
that,
there
like, crazy to
fishing,
dangerous.
jet
I feel it.
skiing, kayaking, whatever it is, they gonna do it.
I feel it. I feel it. I saw that you were working on, like, your goals for the year, vision boarding and ting.
Oh
I thought
yes.
that was very cute. Like, what got you, like, doing that? Or was it just something you were doing just to sort of plan out your goals for the year, or is it something you do every year now?
Well, my cousin Bria, she actually hosted the event, and she wanted well, she made her own vision board, and she wanted like the people around her to, you know, open their brain and open their eyes to see what is it that you want like to accomplish this year, you know, like putting out goals is for yourself and stuff like that. So she created an event with her close friends, and it was like a public event, you know, anybody could have came to just like jot down your inspirations, your goals, anything that you want to happen. You know, it could be the impossible, you know, but still, she really pushed us all to like get them out of there, and so that we could I guess, see every day. But yeah, it was really engageable. Like everybody was engaged, and yeah, it was pretty fun. I got carried away. I didn't even realize what time it was. We were there till like maybe 11 o'clock, still working on it. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think visualization is, like, such a good tool in general. Like, I feel like it has more power than, like, people realize. I've been reading a lot of books, and, like, one of the central themes that I've noticed across, like, these different books has always been, like, visualization and, like, the power of it
Hmm.
to manifest whatever it is that you, like, want. So it, like, makes perfect sense that, like, this is something that is a great tool just for, like, even the beginning of a year, to
Yeah,
kind of, like, allow you to focus your attention for the rest of the year. 'Cause it's like when you, like, visualize what you want, like, you're creating this image in your mind's eye, and, like, the more engaging you make it and, like, the more real you make it, like, I don't know how, but it's like you echo that sort of
yeah,
message outward, and it, like, allows you to focus. So, like, when you sense an opportunity, you're, like, right there, you act on it, like, immediately versus, like, oh, like, you're not even really aware because 'cause you're just moving about, just not really focused on what is important to you?
yeah. It's kind of like you know how they say back then, the power of the tongue, like what you speak really. Cause sometimes it may come true and stuff like that. It's kind of like the same thing. Like
Mm,
when you write down stuff and visualize stuff, you train your mind to like, how do I say this? Like magically make it happen.
like
You know?
laser
Yeah.
in. Yeah, I feel it. So then what was the central theme of your vision board this year?
Well, I mean, I had a lot of stuff in there, but it's mostly to like, um, you know, get closer with my family, build business bonds, invest in myself. There's just a whole lot of stuff that I put down. I had a beach house, you know. I want to get a beach
A
house.
a
Manifesting that, you know, travel the world with my loved ones and stuff like that. And yeah.
hashtag girls trip.
Oh yes, still pending, still pending.
I feel it. That's awesome. I feel like those are all great areas to place
Yeah.
intention. I feel like for me this year, it's really just like getting clear, You know what I mean? Like getting grounded. Like my it's been interesting, like I when I design my agenda, it's sort of like my way of doing
Mhm.
vision boarding because I typically include like a lot of like the quotes that are about the sort of the mindset that I want to have, which is like being positive, being mindful, being in the
Yes.
moment, like letting go of like the fear and anxiety of doubt or just like the wanting to control the outcome, just relinquishing all of these delusions that get in the way of you just being and like in it. And then I have like a lot of like photos that I take from wherever that reflects sort of like the what is it that about my life that is very valuable
Mhm.
to me, and like a lot of it is very green themed. Like I was just very it was like very earth sign esque, which is ironic because I am an earth sign, I suppose.
Makes sense.
But it was just like a lot of like getting back in touch with land, like that island life, like being a
Yeah.
cultivator, like
'Cause we
growing.
grew up in it, this is like normal. It's like yeah.
Exactly. I know. And it was so cute because like when I came home, that was one thing that I noticed, like, in just even my, like, family was, like, they all plant, they all try to grow
Mhm.
crops, like, have just little gardens, and I was just like, "Oh," like, it just felt so good to kinda see that reflected in our history, our lineages, traditions.
Oh yes.
It's beautiful. But how has it been for you now being, home for it's been a few years now that you've been back
Yeah, it's
on the
been about a
island?
year and a half. Yeah. I was, my life has definitely slowed down. I can definitely say that. Island time is one of a thing, but I'm trying to make the most of it. To be with family more, and I started work again, so doing that, adult things.
You're funny, bro. I guess, like, is there like, having left and coming back, is there, like, things that you recognize mean more to you now than maybe they did before when we were, kids and just not really like, when home was all we really knew because we hadn't really
Mhm.
left and stuff, and you can easily just overlook things, I think, that are actually very meaningful to you. Was there
Mhm.
anything that sort of stood out when you came back as, like, I'm so grateful to have these things, whereas before I maybe took them for granted or just let it sort of slip by.
I would definitely say embracing the culture. I feel like when I left, like going to the US, everybody is like to themselves. They believe in this individualism, their rights, and everybody to themselves now. And then when I came back home, it's like I got so stuck into like the American routine. It's like, okay, I gotta chill down. I gotta, slow things down, get on track. But yeah, it's been really chill for the most part.
Do you feel like the States impacted sort of your, like, philosophy? Because you've always sort of been a very, like, chill individual, and I'm curious, like, did
Hmm.
the being in the States make you sort of feel like you had to perform because it's a lot more competitive and aggressive and, like, people are always like, "Go, go, 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 go," and, like,
Yeah.
never really relax, and they're just wound up so tight. I feel like that's very just opposite to your nature.
Yes, it definitely is for sure. It's kind of hard because I wasn't really into the whole American vibe. I always stuck to myself and my Caribbean people while I was up there. So I never really drifted myself into their way of living. How do I say? Yeah,
Hmm.
I always kept myself. Like if you see me, you'll be like, yeah, that definitely an island girl over there. But yeah.
Like, what sort of shaped your philosophy on life? Because, like, I feel like no matter what is going on in the world, like, you're always just sort of happy and content and going with the flow. And just sort of like relaxed. Like I don't know if maybe that's just a misperception from the outside looking in, but how have you like what like why are you so chill? You know what I mean? What do you know that we don't know?
Well, I feel like in life everything happens for a reason. Whether it's good or bad, I feel like there's a message behind everything. And I trust in God, so I have faith. I have a lot of faith. I would say that that's mostly why I'm chill about anything, even if it could be the worst thing that I could hear for the day. I always try to like reflect on the good. I'm always positive. I like to stay positive. Yeah.
Is it ever challenging to stay positive, or it's like because you're able to cultivate faith, it never really gets to that point because you have that sort of just acknowledgement that it will work out in the end because faith that is faith, just like understanding that
Mhm.
in the moment, everything is okay even though it may seem like it isn't, and that's enough strength to sort of move on to the next moment.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have felt fear and self-doubt, but like I said, I just kept the faith. Is there something was bothering me, then I would, pray about it, let it out there for the world to deal with. But yeah, you just got to keep a clear mind and you'll be fine.
I feel it. I feel it. I feel like you for sure are one of those people that also keeps great company. Like you have an incredible support system. Like absolutely incredible. Like you said, one of your things was to keep family close. I'm just like, how much closer could y'all get? I'm like, y'all
I,
are already so freaking close. I'm like, wait, there's room for closeness in there. I thought everybody was already like that.
yeah, there's room. Trust me, there's always room for more in life. But growing up in the family, we were always close. My great grandmother, she always reflected the word love. And she really showed us what love is about and how important it is to love and share with one another, be very given to everybody, whether if it's your family, your friend, it could be a stranger, it don't matter.
That's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
to just give, you got to give in order to receive. And it's like a cycle, that's how life works.
That's so beautiful. I mean, I definitely see that reflected in just like how you all are. I feel like ever
Hmm.
since even I've known you, it's always been loving. And I felt that. I feel like from the moment we met that it was just like that was what this was. And the gratitude that I feel for you guys, I feel like there's not even words I think that can explain it because when you see like what genuine unconditional love is like, it's just like like, how could you just not, just like, I don't know, like, I don't even know what to say. It's just like there's no feeling like that to have
Hmm.
people that just let you be who you are and just love you for it,
Oh
and
yeah.
that kind of support, like, I feel like so many people, if you don't have that, get it because it really is one of those things that I feel like makes life absolutely 10 times more incredible because you have like
Yes.
support. And I feel like you were saying about America's a very individual focused place. So Martin is
Hmm.
like, even though I feel like at times can be very lately more selfish, I still feel like there's this sense of community
Of
that
course.
still is there, but I feel like I don't know, with, like, how the island has changed, just, like, since Irma and stuff, it's sort of been maybe less at the forefront.
Hmm.
It's still there, if you know where to look.
I mean, we are the friendly island. I express that a lot.
Do you think, like, we were always the friendly island, or is just, like, a marketing thing, for
No, I think that we were
tourists?
always, because if a tourist were to stop and, for example, ask us for directions, we'll be more than willing. Like we'll go the extra mile to make sure they reach where they gotta go. You know what I mean?
That reminds me when Lando was helping that one dude. Oh, yeah, that is true. I don't know, it depends who you talk to. Because if you say some ignorant shit to me, I'm not gonna be the one to help. I might just be like, "Brody, get away, please. Just back up, okay? Just back up with the ignorance." Like, thank you.
Yep.
But I guess, like, now that you're on the island and, like, you make a living there, like, how has it been being, like, a working adult? Like, do you think it's very different than kinda just being, like, a teenager on the island? Like, is there a different tone to adulthood there? Like, or is it kinda just the same work hard, party harder lifestyle?
Yeah, I would say it's the same. I wouldn't say it's much of a different. For me, the work goes by real fast. Like it's like I get up in the morning, go to work, and then have lunch, back to work, and then the day is over. It's like 4 o'clock there, right around the corner, and then you just do the whole cycle again.
And what do you do now?
Right now, I work as a operator and admin assistant in the treatment plant in in town. And I basically take samples of the sewage and we basically test like the water levels to see if the sludge is thick or not, if it's the water quality is good cuz the sewage actually goes into the pond. I'm not sure if you knew that, but I didn't even know that until I got there. But yeah, once it goes through the effluent, which is like the last resort to like uh clarify the water, it goes straight into the pond, and we basically have to make sure that the water is sustainable enough to so that like the animals in the pond don't die, so
Interesting. I'm curious, like, how does that whole sampling process or, like, even the treatment process work? So it's like it enters in from one central place, or is it more based on the districts that, like, their sewage is treated differently, or is it just, like, it all comes to the same place
yeah.
and it's all
Yeah, it
handled
all comes
there?
to the plant. The septic trucks, they come from
Mm,
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they offload the sludge, and then it's like a whole complicated plant, but I'm gonna just break it down. Then it goes into this aeration part where it's like just spinning, like it's the sludge is like basically breaking down, and then it goes into a whole other systems before it reaches the effluent pit, and that's where the water is more clear. You can see like right through it, and then the sludge would go to the sludge beds, which is like it's kind of like how do I explain this? It's a bed, but like with sludge, and once the sludge dries, they take the sludge and they put it on the landfill. I don't know why, which is the dump.
mm.
I don't know why they would put it there, but I know some farmers they accept the sludge because it's really good. It's like a good fertilizer for crops and stuff. So I
Yeah.
know that. Yeah.
I feel like that would be an interesting approach to just like reducing our overall waste, as an island, because our dump
Hmm.
is a sight for sore eyes, and she is a hill that's it's just like, why are you here though? Like, can we like do better?
Yeah.
Please. But it's interesting that they would put the biowaste there as opposed to, yeah, like back into the soil to increase like organic content of our soil,
Hmm.
because I know like that's one thing that like I don't know if it's a myth or fact, because I don't actually know how our what is the quality of our soil for growing crops, but, like, it's always, like, sort of the excuse of, like, "Oh, our soil is not good for growing plants, so, like, that's why we don't have our own, farms on the island." But if
Mhm.
we did have a way of taking, like, waste and turning it into fertilizer that could then nourish all of our mountainside or hillsides, because 'cause let's be real, it ain't no mountain, and, like, just increase the organic content so that we could grow more, like, food giving crops, or, like, have
Mhm.
more, like, plants in our ecosystem that not only offered shade and, like, added to the diversity of the ecosystem, but also could feed the people, sustainably annually. Because, I mean, we are in one of the best tropical zones for cultivating anything, like the fact
Yep.
that it just like it makes no sense to me. That I understand we, are capitalistic in our economic structure, and we want to sort of become a modernized nation, but I'm like, why do we have to do it like these other industrialized nations? Like, we're barely that big, you know what I mean? Like, our
Yeah.
population is not even remote. Like, one company in America alone could hire the entire island.
Facts.
So I'm like, why are we trying to be like that when clearly we don't have the space or the manpower for that type of lifestyle? Like, we should really, I feel like, be going back more to our roots of, like, this is sort of what we need. This is what we generate. How do we make this a circle, instead of it being like we import stuff, we consume a bunch of stuff, we
Yeah.
generate a bunch of waste, and that just goes into a landfill that just sits there and continues to grow with no end in sight. Like, that will become like, what are they going to do? Is that going to be our new peak parody? And then they'll just, like, put a freaking, what you call it, zip line from the top of that and call that the new Flying Dutchman. Like,
I'm
I'm just
dead.
like, what how is this gonna play out?
No, it's funny now, but it's a real serious problem issue that we really have to face. Eventually, it's going to be worse, and we won't be able to deal with it. So yeah, I totally agree with you. We gotta find ways to like reuse, like recycle or something to limit the garbage that goes there
Hmm,
or something. Something gotta give.
I mean, I thought they even banned plastic, but I saw plastic when I was there. I was like, "Mm-mm, I know, Sarah." I'm like, "I thought we passed this rule, but I guess not." Or maybe it's just, like, not even being enforced or what, but I guess, like, I'm curious, like, having been on the island for so long and having sort of a historical family like yours, that literally, like, when I think of, like, what a St. Martiner is, if we're trying to pull that card, I'm like, it's definitely like your family for sure, hands down. You know what I mean? The roots are deep on both
Yeah.
sides. So I'm like, I'm curious, like, how, like, what vision do you see for the island? Like, what would you love to see the island become? Because I remember when we were looking at, like, the vintage photos of what the island used to be
Mhm.
versus, like, what it is now, like, a part of my heart breaks, I'm like, "Freaking hell," like, what did we become, and,
Yeah.
like, where do we go from here, kinda?
I would like to see more like natural reserves on the Dutch side. I feel like we have a lot of them on the front side, but not enough on the Dutch side. I mean, we know the Dutch side is more like developed as far as businesses, and I'm sure more people live on the Dutch side than the French. Like the French side has way more land, more space.
But I feel like the French also give more of a fuck, you know what I mean? Like, they have to answer to
Yeah.
France, whereas the Dutch side is just a bunch of rebels in a coup, and they just doing whatever best interests them, which I'm like, I don't know how looking ghetto is going to be in your best interest, but to each their own, I guess.
Not the ghetto.
I mean, when I see people parking up on the sidewalk hinting with no
Bruh.
fucks to give, I'm kind of just like, "Police officer, I know you see this, like, and you just bike right past this and
No, honestly,
didn't even do nothing."
that's
Like, you don't
literally
go
how it is,
like, not even
bruh.
one ticket, officer, like, not even one, like, oh my gosh.
Uh, yeah. Nah, bro. The most they'll do if you're in the car, the most they'll do is maybe knock on your window, be like, "You can't stay here," you know. Be like, "Yeah, man, no problem. I get moved. I just waiting on somebody right in that shop
That's a
there."
damn freaking lie too, you know?
Yeah, the laws
Uh
in that side are not enforced, and it's
It's like,
sad, you know,
what laws? It's just like, this is free man's land, okay, you do
bro.
whatever. You get here, that's all, that's it. Once you get here, you can do whatever the hell. It's pretty much,
Honestly,
which I'm kind of
I
like, I get it, but we need some kind of rules, like, come on.
bro, I honestly viewed that side of the Saint Martin like GTA, like literally like GTA. Like, you could do whatever the fuck you want, whenever you want, anytime, any day, any
That's
hour.
accurate. That's so accurate.
And I feel like that's why when a lot of tourists come here, they feel so free and they always want to come back and sometimes even retire on the island, you know, because it's like a home away from home that you've always dreamed about, you know?
I feel it. Cause it's not like you can have your titties out in America. Next thing you know, they're gonna red flag you, block you, and fine you in the same day. Like,
Oh, you can't be nude?
not
They don't have
really. I
any
mean,
nude
not even on
beach?
Instagram. Like, you can't even be naked. Like, I mean, if you chose to, consensually upload like even a remotely semi-sexual image of a female body and there's nipples exposed, like Instagram will flag that shit with the quickness. Like, but if they're
Yeah.
male nipples, and it's kind of like, okay, which again, mm,
Yeah, that's true.
it don't make it sense, but I guess. I guess. I don't know, like for me, like I hope that like you were saying about the natural reserves, I would like to
Mhm.
see more of that. Like just more, I don't know, like small community, sustainably focused, just like design and initiatives where it was really like focused on improving the quality of life for the locals. Like it
Mhm.
just breaks my heart to see our people struggle in like any capacity. It Even though I know it is to some degree self-inflicted by the decisions that y'all made. Now you gotta sleep with them. I still like have, empathy, I feel like, for the fact that people have to work multiple jobs and the minimum
Mhm.
wage is so low and like, the property, the cost of land there is only gonna go up, especially as they continue to develop that just destroys the few green hillsides that we have, and that
Yep.
impacts our ecosystem. That impacts the quality of air, that impacts the fish that we can fish from our seas, like even this, the what do they call it, seagrass, sawgrass
Sawgrass, yeah.
problem, and like how that's infecting, the air quality. I just feel like our people deserve better. Like our children, the youth deserve better. And sometimes I'm like, it can be really difficult for me to see it because I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I love that place. It's so beautiful and special, and the people are my favorite in the entire world. And just to see like the neglect when we had something that was like a true gem, and
Yeah.
just to see it sort of be cut piece by piece, just so somebody can feel like they are equivalent to like American celebrities or just like that idea of like the 1%. Like they're trying to become this image. And I'm like, why though? Like those
Yeah.
people are miserable and unhappy and freaking toxic. I'm like, why? Like you have an actual slice of freaking paradise that these people will be willing to pay billions of dollars to get,
Mhm.
and you are willing to just sell yourself. I'm like, oh, how? But I do think though we do have like potential to change. Like when I see cultivators and I see the work that you do with like bio waste and that does go to farmers, and they're able to cultivate from that. Like, it's incredible. Like, it shows you the potential of where we could go, if we had like more like
Mhm.
local farming, or even I honestly think if they legalize some things, it would only benefit the community. It would benefit like people's mental health. It would benefit the community's ability to generate like
Mhm.
more. If we're thinking about like tourism dollars, like you think being like the first weed legal Caribbean destination is not gonna bring people to the rock? Like, come on now. Okay, let's be
Yeah.
real. Like, people would gladly, like, I mean, even if they look at like how much the weed legal states in America make from, the tax dollars that the weed industry brings, I'm like,
Mhm.
why would you not want a piece of that? You could tax that, you could tax
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I mean, it's a good and it's a bad thing for certain people too.
I feel you. I feel you. Because we do have the whole addiction
Cause
conversation
the trap
too.
houses, they gonna feel it.
But I mean, they would become dispos. Why not?
I guess, but some of them they don't really like. They like to stay incognito. They have their people that regularly come by them, and
I guess.
I don't know.
But I'm
Maybe
like,
we'll
you could
see.
like grow this up. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Like, they're making they bank, in the way that they are, and why rock the boat. But
Hmm.
I'm like, you could make more bank. I'm like, because then you could do like a lot more stuff with it that maybe you wouldn't be able to
That's
do
true. Yeah, yeah,
otherwise,
yeah.
and that could open like an entire industry just for the region that I think like is currently untapped, and like why not? And I mean, like, I know they're focused like a lot on crypto, which again, I feel like our government officials just like to hop on trends, but I do see like the benefit that that could bring the region just because of like all the international shenanigans that we have to deal with, and like the
Mhm.
fact that we can't use PayPal or Venmo or Cash App or any of these very, very nice applications. Crypto could sort of give us an avenue to do business internationally without being penalized by the mistakes of others.
Yeah, I was saying a lot of the restaurants in Simpson Bay they actually do accept Bitcoin Cash. I noticed like some Chinese shops too. And I think that's I know a lot of the taxis actually accept that too.
That's interesting.
And I was really surprised to see that because taxis are like the first people that tourists would have a connection or with. So I honestly I do hope that it it gets bigger, and I see we got a Bitcoin ATM as well.
I guess baby steps. You got to start somewhere. It's just like if we're going to move in that direction, I'm like, can we also fix our Wi Fi? Like, can we have strong, sustainable
We gonna get
internet?
there, Ashu. We gonna get there.
I'm just like, who do I need to talk to petition some of these initiatives, please? But I mean, one thing that I will say
But I
has
think
not
it's also
changed.
important to educate the people about
Oh,
like
facts.
this other currency.
Facts. I think that is one thing. We have a lot of lacking of education in a lot of key areas, like around social services, community development, and then like financial literacy and independence. I
Mm-hmm.
think these are areas
Yes.
that we don't, yeah, there is not a lot of like material, I think, to educate Caribbean communities about sort of these things that are only in their best interest. Like, I honestly, with like the investing part, like the fact that the people aren't able to invest in like any international stock market is only like hurting our people and the local economy, because this is like wealth that all of these families could have been generating as St. Martin's tourism economy grew. Like, instead of it just being like select businesses or select families having this opportunity, it would have been like anyone's grandma, could have had
Right.
a little mutual funds account back in the day, I would have been sitting real
Yeah.
pretty right now, and it would have made it, I think, a lot easier for folks during COVID and after
Oh
Irma to have
yes,
something
for sure.
where it wasn't like dependent on service based work, or consumption based behavior.
Hmm.
But who knows? I have faith, I do, because if there's one thing you can't kill, it's St. Martin people's spirit. It is resilient, so freaking resilient. Like,
Yeah.
looking forward, like, what are some of like the small businesses that, or small like entrepreneurial areas that you think are like gonna be interesting to explore in the next few years? Because I've been seeing a lot of like skincare and just like event planning and things like that. But I'm curious, like you've even, in trying to develop partnerships locally, are there like other areas that you see are sort of like starting to pick up some speed, or just being like an area of interest?
You mean like on an island?
Yeah.
Well, I can say during COVID, I realized like a lot of people started selling things, whether it's like eyelash or lip gloss or clothes. It could be anything small. Like I feel like COVID really made people come out with things that they always wanted to. I feel like they had more time to think and formulate to bring something out to the community that they can
Mm,
share.
that's beautiful to see. I love that, just more small businesses. People just trying to figure out what speaks to them.
Yeah, speaking of businesses, I also want to come out with a few businesses that I have in mind. I was thinking about coming out with a clothing brand specifically in luxury streetwear.
Mm,
The normal clothes, white as wear. Just wanna bring it out to those around me.
mhm.
Comfortable, quality wear. I also thought about. Well, I told you about this coming out with like a water brand. We still got to talk more about that.
Facts. Water is the source of life. So I feel it. I'm
Yeah.
plus like water is like my A1 day one too,
Oh
Like if
yeah,
people know
we
me,
I know that from
that is all
decades
I
ago for
drink.
sure. You see Harsha, you if you see Harsha, you gotta see a water bottle either next to her in her bag, in her hand, something. Harsha always traveling with water.
I love it. Tastes good, 0 calories, sugar free, the good stuff. But yeah, I mean, water's amazing. I don't know about you, but I love it. I love me some good water. And even just coming home and like drinking like Volvic and like heavenly water, I was like, oh my soul.
Mhm.
I've missed these brands. The little things in life.
Oh yes.
But I guess, as we wrap up the podcast, you have wisdom for the people out there in the streets trying to have faith as the world does its thing, being crazy and unpredictable. Do you have like words of inspiration for the people out in the streets trying to make the most of this beautiful gift we have called life?
Yes, I have some words. Just live life to the fullest. Live it to the fullest. That's it. If you don't live the life that you want, you're not gonna be happy. You're not gonna be satisfied. You're gonna be living a life for somebody else. You know, do what you want. I mean, obviously, nothing illegal to get yourself in trouble, but
What she
do
really
what you
means is don't
want.
get caught, but do what you want.
Yes, the number one rule is to never get caught. But yeah, just live life to the fullest. There's so much that life can give, and yeah, just be grateful, practice gratitude, be happy, and yeah.
I feel it. I mean, I if there's one person that I know that exhibits all of what you just said, it's you. Like really and truly. Like you for sure like I know why I'm so drawn to you is just because you literally are that. Like you are always sort of in the moment, just going with the flow, just letting
Mhm.
life unfold for you and the love that you show and that you share, it's priceless, and I'm forever grateful to have you be my writer, because life would be so much less hilarious without
You're
you by
done
my
now.
side. Oh my gosh, forever grateful, forever grateful.
Yes, I feel the same way, Harsha. You truly are a blessing to my life.
It's likewise, homie. Likewise, and
You truly are a blessing to my life, man. I love you, homie.
I know. I'm just super excited for what the future has in store because mofos would say they say like when you leave, friendships die, and I was like, haha, you don't know my homies. You don't know. You don't know.